I'm about to teach you 10 hiding spots in Sorting Factory that are guaranteed to save your life at one point or another. And in addition, at the end of this, I'm going to be throwing in a bonus tip for you guys, so stay tuned for that. Before we jump in though, I just want to let you guys know that 91% of our viewers are not subscribed. So if you want to join the club, you can hit that red button right underneath this video, and I would greatly appreciate that. And we'd love to have you here in the community. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into these tips. Now, this first area is utilized by a lot of pro players, and it's actually that island room inside the long tubular part of Sorting Factory, and this allows you to shoot through the floor at your opponents, but just know that they can also shoot up through it. But I guarantee nobody's going to be expecting you to be up here, and it's pretty likely that nobody will see you or notice you, so you can heal up or you can disengage from a fight if that's what you're trying to do. Now, this next one is absolutely insane for getting the jump on players, especially if you have a peacekeeper. Now, in that end room, that like semicircle kind of room, if you go in and you can jump up on top of whatever those metal pieces are that are sticking out, and these are actually on both sides, so you can get the jump on people no matter what door they're coming up. Just make sure you're in positioning. If you've watched my previous videos, I have several clips from up here actually getting double kills or triple kills, so this is a really helpful spot. Now, this next spot, if you go outside the semicircle room and climb up on the handrail, and then you can jump up onto a ledge, and this allows you to get a vertical advantage over your opponents. So if they're down underneath you, you can either get the drop on them, or you can disengage and heal if you need to, because they'll probably be down looking for you in the actual room, or they'll be all the way underneath trying to loot. So it definitely buys you a lot of time, which is really good. And as you can see, you can move completely around the semicircle, which gives you a lot of freedom with where you want to take the fight from and if you want to disengage. This next spot you might have actually found by accident, which is how I found it. So you may already know about it, but it's a really good spot to just break away from the enemies and hide. And it's between those boxes and steel beams next to that entrance there, the front entrance. And it allows you to almost completely disappear. You're nearly invisible from every angle except that one on the side there where you got in. But it's just a great spot to know about in general. Now, if you continue down that passage and go through the double doors that lead out into the area which brings you outside the building, you'll notice that you can climb up on top of that big box right in the center. And that's actually the area where all those crates go down, I'm assuming, to be sorted. And this is a great spot to just completely vanish. If somebody's chasing you down that passageway, you can come through and hop up there, and they'll definitely keep running. In fact, I didn't even know that this was a spot until I started looking for hiding spots when I was recording this. Now, this next one seems pretty obvious, but very few people actually utilize this. Not just this particular shelf over here, but all of these cases that are yellow can be climbed, and you can hide up on top of them, you can heal up, and a lot of them are placed near doorways, so you can actually get the jump on people if you're waiting for them to come in, or if you're a Caustic or a Watson, you can throw down traps or fences and wait on top, which gives you a height advantage and allows you to stay out of sight. Moving out of that building though and into the main warehouse, you'll find that if you climb up the stairs and go out along that catwalk in the inside, you can actually climb up into like the corner of that beam there, and this will not only give you a height advantage if you're trying to get an angle while sniping, but it also is super out of the way of any fighting that would be going on or anybody looking for you, so you can really get a heal off or you can disengage from a fight. But all in all, it's just a really great spot if you're trying to stay out of sight. So moving on, let's talk about the top of that warehouse building. So you'd probably immediately think upon coming up here that there's nowhere to hide or there's not much cover, but in actuality, if you crouch while you're standing on the back end of the generators, you will actually slide right through them. And while you're down there, you're pretty covered from both of your sides, but you're probably thinking that there's a huge gap right in the front, so how could this possibly offer much cover? And it doesn't offer cover, but it's a spot that nobody would think to look. And actually, if you keep watching this clip, you can see that a squad comes right up by me and they shoot a zip line and just leave. They didn't even notice I was there, and I was able to flank them, and we eventually completely killed them. My squad was actually off looting somewhere else, and I definitely would have died if I didn't have this hiding spot, so I can confirm that this one does work. Now for this next one, if you go into the center area of Sorting Factory where those 3 crates are, you can actually open up any one of the crates and climb up onto those big pillars. Now, out of all the hiding spots that I've told you guys about in this video, this is the one that I would recommend least for just climbing up and healing, as you can move around and get some cover, but I would more recommend recommend this for climbing up and dropping down on enemies to surprise them, since you are fairly open up here. Now, if you move over to any one of the smaller buildings on the side of Sorting Factory, you can climb up onto the shelf up against the back wall. Now, this is by far the most difficult spot to get to on this list. It took me a really long time to get this down. In fact, even in the video, you can see I messed it up a couple times. But basically, you just have to run up the wall, flip your view over to the corner of this shelf, and you'll pull yourself up. Now, this is a little bit easier to do as Pathfinder, but it's still very difficult, but a very useful spot. And now, last but certainly not least, is the hiding spot that I use the most in Sorting Factory. And it is potentially the most obvious one, but we are going to be getting into the bonus tip right after this, so stay tuned for that. But back in the first building that we covered, you can climb onto the structure that divides the two doors on that southwest side of the building, the one where people land at, and this offers a great view of both doors and gives you a height advantage over potential opponents underneath you. So it's a really cool and helpful spot that you should definitely add to your game. And now finally, for our bonus tip, if you're playing as Revenant, you can take the balloon from Sorting Factory, and if the circle's closing or if your squad is fighting over there, anytime you need to get there fast, you can actually go onto the rocks over here, as you'll see I'm doing, and you can climb up over the top of it with his passive ability. If you remember previously in Season 3, you used to be able to do this with anybody because you could land on the ledge over on the right hand side, but now as Revenant on the left hand side, you can now climb over all of the rock, and it gets you over there far faster than ballooning in and then running through that tunnel in the middle. I'm considering also making one of these videos on Capital City, so let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see that, or if you want me to cover a different area. I make videos almost every day of the week, so if you want to support me and you want to continue to learn about Apex Legends, please consider joining the club and hitting that subscribe button right underneath. But until next time, guys, take it easy.